of December. So from now, for the next 3 or 4 weeks, we'll be covering every day the greatest football tournament on earth, AFCON 2025. We started this program last year with Warif. We're the first people to start it, so now we're back. Any words, Warif, before we get started?
Well, first and foremost, I have to say
2 years ago.
Mustafa. Yeah, I remember the first show that we did, myself, Mustafa, and was the South African guy. It was really nice. I have to thank, I have to thank Mr. Mustafa, and also want to thank our fans that have been following us, that have subscribed, and those who have been watching our program. I say thank you and keep it up. Also, I want to thank Mr. Afolabi, should I say the technical director of our show. Big ups to you, man.
Producer. Okay, so let's get started. So Morocco, we know, are fantastic. They're favored to win this tournament, especially since they're at home. I think their biggest challenge is going to come from Senegal, who I think can win this whole tournament. But that's a story for another day. So Morocco, we're going to look at their first game. They will be playing Comoros Islands. And before anybody laughs, let's look at these guys. These guys play low block. They're very brave. They're not afraid of anybody, and they absorb pressure. So they're going to play against Morocco. They're going to definitely play a low block. They're going to be there. And what they're going to do is try to frustrate Morocco and Big Boy, a spoiler, and play for a draw. I don't see them having enough of a counterattack or enough firepower to score Morocco. But definitely, if Morocco thinks that they're just going to break these guys down and beat them, it's not going to happen, especially since Morocco's own style of play is patient. Morocco likes to choke people by making sure that they, even if they have the ball, they go into positions on the field where they're no longer dangerous, especially since Morocco uses a mid-block. And they've got great defensive players, and they've also got Amrabat in midfield, who's a defensive midfielder. So they play a mid-block, very well-organized defense. And then with their wing-backs, which are very dangerous, and with their attackers, their wingers, they use their wing-backs like wingers, and they do counterattack. But they're going to meet a team like Comoros Island, which is going to have people in the box. So they're not going to be able to use that style of game where they choke you in the midfield, because Comoros Island is just going to sit back and say, come, let's see what you can do. What are your thoughts, Afolabi?
Yeah, I quite agree with you. In spite of the fact that Morocco...
I meant suffocate you. They suffocate you, not choke you. Yeah, they suffocate you. Go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so Morocco are hands down the favorites for this game. And Comoros are just basically underdogs. But as a host nation with so much expectation, if you're playing the underdogs in your first game, you're under a lot of pressure. And like Mustafa said, these guys are going to play a low block. They're going to play some kind of anti-possession kind of setup. So they're going to try and disrupt the Moroccan build-up and stuff. So it's going to be difficult for Morocco, but they have this guy, Brahim Diaz, who is like their creative midfielder. He's very good in the half spaces in the attacking region of the field, and is very technically good. And he will have the freedom to play up front, while Sofiane Amrabat will sit in front of the defense and allow this guy, Hakimi, to trust through the right. But I think Hakimi is a doubt. He has an ankle injury. We don't...
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, we don't know if he'll be able to start the game, but they expect this Brahim Diaz guy, who plays for Real Madrid, by the way, to open, unlock tight defenses. And I think Morocco will be under a lot of pressure to beat, because, if you're playing an underdog, you are expected to win. So it's going to be a lot of pressure on Morocco. But I think at the end of the day, I think Morocco would nick this one in front of their home crowd.
Yeah, and I know that Comoros Islands has an attacker, El Fadou Ben Nabohane, and in midfield, a man of note is Changama. Yeah, the problem is that these guys, they don't have an engine in midfield, so it's going to be very difficult for them to find creative spots. And that's going to come down to the tactics. If they want to score against these guys, they're going to have to be very tactically aware, and they're going to have to take some risks. They can't just go all out for the low block. They're going to have to take some risks and once in a while try to open up their play. What do you think, Mr. Falabi? Then we'll go to Mr. Warif.
Yeah, they can't just sit back and just be playing the ball back to the Moroccan players. They have to try and at least put an outlet. If they're playing 5-4-1, there must be an outlet so that when they win the ball, that they can counter on Morocco. I feel that's the only way they can score against Morocco. But if Morocco gets an early goal, and this team now abandons the low block and try to come out, In fact, it's going to be a volleyball score against Comoros. You will see. It's going to be a volleyball score. So, like you said, Mustafa, this one is, Morocco will get a very comfortable win here, really.
Yeah, I'm looking at maybe 1-0, 2-0. Yeah. What are your thoughts, Mr. Warif?
Yeah, this might be an interesting game because we know that just like David and Goliath. But I think in every tournament there are some things that are there just to spoil a game. Might not be everybody knows that not be able to qualify for the next round, but they'll just be there to play the spoiler. Now for the Comoros, even if Morocco should beat them, nobody will see it as anything. They know that they are underdogs. But the Moroccans, they need to be careful because in such a game, don't be surprised. I just want to those Comoros guys. But I think it's going to be an interesting game. Interesting, but number one, those Comoros they don't have anything. They just open up. Yeah.
Okay, so I think the two guys that are very key for this game, Amrabat is the single pivot, is their citizen. If he's able to control that region of the field, it gives Brahim Diaz the freedom to attack and play without looking back and trying to defend. So, and he's very good on the ball. I've seen him play. He's very good in tight spaces. And they also have Youssef and Nesri, who is I think he's about 6'1". He plays for Fenerbahce. He's very good in the air. So another route Morocco can also hurt Comoros is from set pieces, corner kicks and free kicks. So this has a Morocco win written all over it. Although I dare say they will be under a lot of pressure because of the home crowd.
I'm just wondering how they're going to play because Morocco, they don't press, do they? No, do they press?
No, they don't press. They play more like Man City, measured kind of possession game.
Yeah, but what they'll do is they're going to have to. I know that their strength is with wings, but against this team, they're going to have to use their midfield more, or they'll have to use their wings to try to draw these guys out of position. So it depends on whether these guys can hold their formation. Comoros,
and they'll have to play at a very high tempo because Comoros might want to slow down the game to frustrate Morocco.
Yeah, well, what Morocco may do is invert their wingbacks and put them into the midfield and build numbers in the midfield and try to narrow the field. Then all of a sudden put their wingers out. So that's a weird way of creating space for the wingers. We'll see what happens by drawing the fullbacks into the midfield. You understand what I'm saying? But it depends on whether Comoros falls for that. I'm seeing that they're going to have Morocco is just because we say they use a wide style of play, it doesn't mean that they can't also do, like you said, play. They can't go from the forward. They have, from the center. They have enough talent that they can also try to work the ball through the center. Like we'll see what happens. Any last thoughts on Mr. Warif? Okay, so let's move on to the next one.